You're supposed to live life first and have a business alongside, not pour everything into your business and then not have any life. So my suggestion would be definitely having that balance, even though I know it seems like elusive, but definitely remember the piece where it's not about grind and hustle. It's about actual impact that you want to create and the why.
Welcome to Glow Up Boss, your business school for women in the beauty industry. Why should you have to figure it all out when there are amazing women that have come before you who have done it first, who could save you lots of time, lots of money, and get you off to the most amazing start? Speaking of amazing starts, I am sitting here with the queen of the Sparkle Tribe. And when I say the queen of the Sparkle Tribe, I'm talking about high-powered women walking into a room adorned in pink and sparkles in honor of this queen. This woman has worked with everyone from startups to multi-billion-dollar industries. In fact, she's even worked with yours truly. This woman is a badass with a capital B and a pink power suit to boot. I welcome you today, Olenka Cullinan, and thank you so much for joining me on this show.
Oh my gosh, y'all, the introduction. I love you. Thank you for having me. I mean, are you kidding me? From the Glow Up Boss herself. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, so there are so many topics you and I could talk about. I mean, we could literally sit with a glass of wine and shut down any bar, any brewery, talking business.
Yes.
The pros and cons, the risks, the rewards, the tears of joy, the tears of laughter, things that people can do to prevent problems, ways to resolve issues, the personal mindset stuff, all the things that can make or break a business, the strategy, the planning, everything. Where do we start today, Olenka?
Oh gosh. I mean, you've named about every best thing out there. I would say, just because of who you're working with and how you show up for your women, I'd say let's start at least with the fact of what it takes to actually have that right business mindset to jump into the business, right? Because sometimes I'm sure they're watching you, all the fame, all the glory, and they forget what it actually takes to show up day in, day out, right? Because the mindset is what carries you through most days. With all the successes you had, all the magazine covers, all the models, they all love watching us, right? Everybody loves watching us on stages when we show up and we're in our best, we're dressed up. And I mean, you play dress up daily. I mean, I want to be Veronique when I grow up. But the truth is, we absolutely, as a business owners, part of owning that business comes with the price of reminding yourself that even on your lowest moments and in your hardest days, you get to do things that you actually wanted to do in the first place. You get to build a business, build a brand, show up, own your space, have your, flexibility in your schedule. I mean, we're recording on an early Friday afternoon because we can do that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reminder so many women need, that when you watch us or when you're listening to this podcast, no matter how exciting this piece is, there are a lot of parts of business that are not that sexy and not that exciting, but you get to do them. It's not that you have to do them, right? Because everybody's like, oh, I have to do the accounting. I have to do the back end and it's boring, but you get to do them. That's a beautiful piece.
Couldn't agree with you more. It really is a trade-off. Mm-hmm. The trade-off between making someone else millions of dollars, which is how we ended up having our own businesses. We've been in corporate, we've helped companies generate millions and billions of dollars and woke up one day and said, hang on a second, life is going by so quickly. And there are other things I'd rather be doing with my time. And I know I can. So why don't I?
Exactly. And I think that's so important for a lot of women who are considering, to start their business, to jump into this journey, right? Because it's a journey forever. We wish we would be like, oh, done, good luck, run on its own, but it's truly a journey and a process. And I think the best piece for this women to remember when they're going into this is you get to create something. You get to create something that aligns with you. You get to create the level of revenue, because some people want to have $1 million company. Some stay-at-home mom wants to have a $150,000 to $200,000 company, still be around her kids. And I think that's why what you offer women is so important. They can literally go from a stay-at-home parent, from sort of a side hustle, from testing things out and getting into that self-tanning routine that they enjoy. And now, boom, they can turn it around and actually make it their revenue and make it their business and make it their career. So this is the piece where you literally get to build the life that you want to have.
I couldn't agree with you more. What's really funny is, having been in this business for almost 20 years, meeting women that start out doing it as a side gig, evenings, weekends. And like you said, their children are small, they're just testing it out, and seeing those seasons, because there are seasons, right? And the woman you start out working with, you start out mentoring. For me, it's, the woman that buys a spray tanning system and goes through one of my training classes, watching her be that part-time mother, possibly single mother, to a few years later getting into a brick and mortar business, generating over 6 figures, then getting into her own space, maybe launching her own product line. And in those seasons, they're different people. They became aware of their why, but their why may have changed. They walked into it with one set of skills and then discovered they didn't have the skills they needed to take it to the next level. They realized that they didn't have systems in place and processes in place, didn't have a plan to execute. They were winging it.
Yeah.
They were rolling up their sleeves. They were getting in there and they were doing it. But you know what? There comes a time when that's just not enough. And you, Olenka, and this is one of the things that I love so much about you, is you are the queen of systems. You are the queen of putting things in place so you can buy back your time and make so much more money in a fraction of time. You buy your life back. That you don't have to be the grind all the time, that you can actually get to the point where you scale and you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I love it. I love the fact that you called it seasons, right? Where they get to change that mindset. They get to change the skill set. They get to change who they are and how they show up, right?
Yeah.
And the confidence. It's like you said, think of any mother out there or a young female who is sort of starting that, like you said, the side hustle on the weekends. And as they grow and become true business owners, just the level of confidence they show up with, like everything you said, chills, like straight up chills. I love it. And absolutely, I think one of the biggest pieces in growing the business is understanding that, and we're sometimes so just exposed to this culture of hustle and grind that gets promoted daily. And I am inviting all of you listening to kind of step out of it and realize that time is your most valuable resource. Time is one thing we can never buy back. No matter how much money, like you and I will never be sitting in these chairs again, having this exact conversation. And that's the beauty of systems. Systems allow you to actually, one, take emotion out of your business, sort of, because as women, let's be real, we can be emotional. Things happen. We can't just put our kids in the closet.
It's our baby. It's another baby,
and the business
right?
is another baby. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the emotions that run high sometimes is what prevents our own growth. And so why I'm so adamant about systems is, even though sometimes they're not, like I said, that's sexy and demure and mindful, they're always mindful. But the part that's not super exciting is the part that's going to allow you to step away and watch it run without you. And I really encourage women early on. I don't care if this is barely you starting your businesses or if you've been in it for 15 years, your systems is what's going to drive your time. And your time is going to be one resource you can buyback. And that also increases your revenue because, even with something, and I'm going to use like super simple example, posting on social media that all of us business owners sometimes love. And it's like a love-hate relationship. It's like a bad boyfriend, there are days when we just don't feel like showing up and being in our zone. Yeah. And so if you just have a system that puts out those posts or those emails or those communication pieces, no matter if it's a good day or a bad day, that's saving you so much mental game. And it's creating basically passive brand presence and revenue to a degree, no matter what you're doing. So yes, systems are absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think another thing that's like really important that we as business owners, we try to do everything ourselves. And I think we need to start getting used to saying who, not how, right? We get an idea. There's a project we want to run with. Our first question to ourselves shouldn't be how to do it. It should be who can do this.
Yes. Who can do this better than me?
Who can do this better than me?
And the answer is no one.
And the answer is always going to be no one, but you have to move past it.
Absolutely.
You have to move past it because you know what? Mindful is the new demure. Okay.
Oh, amen. Yes.
Mindful is the new demure.
New demure needs to be a new, literally a new t-shirt line. We're coming with that. The March coming, 2025. Be ready for Glow Up Boss. Yes. So, oh my gosh, that is so key. It is so, so important because as women, we have, I don't know what it is in us. It's a broken button or something because we have such a hard time with simple words. Basic, ladies, basic. We're down back to basic of I need help. We will use every line imaginable. I literally will have women here say anything but that. And we feel like it's such like weakness. It's so weird how we're conditioned to feel that it's somehow weak. And I can tell you from my personal, story, I almost killed my first business because I refused to ask for help. And I love the fact that you said it's who, not how, right? Who can do it better in the sense that you shouldn't be, just because you can do everything, you shouldn't be doing everything.
But you know what? Even if you can, and even if someone else doesn't do it as well as you, it's better to have them do it because it frees you up.
100%.
Right? It frees you up. It lets you work on your business instead of in your business. And that's way more important if you want to scale.
Oh my gosh. Scale 1000%. There's no way you can ever scale without burnout, right?
Yeah.
You can literally work 80 hours a week and burn yourself to nothing, and you will not be able to get to scale because you're so scared to release that control. And I see that with so many women owners because we do believe that we have some kind of super cape in our closets, but that's the only thing that's really going to give you that pathway. And I think you know it because you've ran your brand for so many years. You have also been for many seasons of seeing it, and you know it so well because you've seen what happens, right? And it's like you said, even with mentorship to your women, you see that when they branch out, when they start going even to you for help, you can take someone who is sort of dabbling into the business and really put them in a place where they can create something tangible, something long-term, something that's actually becoming their actual revenue stream.
Oh,
yeah.
That cape is sexy at first.
Yes.
That cape is alluring. We twirl. We can do it all. We're Wonder Women. But it doesn't take long before that cape becomes an albatross around our necks. Doesn't take long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally,
right?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Yes, because we feel, and I think it's that, just nurturing piece about women too, because we're so nurturing and loving and we treat our business to a degree that same way. We pour our hearts into that. There is no other way about it. We pour everything we've got into that. But then, like you said, it's when it cuffs us is where everything changes, because now it becomes the very piece that holds us back, because we can't step away, we can't have a bigger vision, we can't participate in other projects because we're literally chained to this very thing we created.
Yeah.
And it's like that Taylor Swift song, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me."
Yeah.
Yeah. And
she wrote it about me, I promise you.
Well, Taylor, if you're listening, we have a number one fan. But it's so true because we almost we fall into that trap, and then we are too scared to ask for help to get out.
Yeah. Or what we do is we take on more than we can handle. I can tell you, so early in my business, I thought I was equipped and orders started coming in, and we literally almost went out of business because we had more orders than we could handle. We had lead times that were 8 weeks to start that ended up becoming 9 months because our suppliers couldn't grow and handle the demand. So we didn't plan for it. It almost put us out of business. So you have to plan for your success too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, 100%. And I think a lot of times that's almost like the fear.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times
upper limits issues.
Absolutely.
Michael Dell had them.
Yeah. 100% spot on. And I feel that, and I'm sure you've seen it with women you've worked with, where they're almost scared because once they start growing, like you said, they're not ready. And it's like drinking from the fire hose and all of it comes in. And while you feel successful, you also feel exhausted. You feel mentally drained. You don't know what to do next. Everything is coming at you. And while, you should be out there celebrating, in reality, so many women, I feel like when they're alone, feel so scared and burned out by that very success. Because again, like you're saying, you have to be planning for that. Everything in your business has to be intentional. And I feel that a lot of times we see that we are in business reactionary, where we're playing catch up instead of kind of staying ahead.
Totally. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is, our businesses are kind of like a barometer of what's going on in our heads. That feeling of worthiness, that feeling of, am I really who I'm portraying myself to be? It's classified as imposter syndrome these days, right? We question whether or not we're really up to it. We question who we are. And I think it's really important for us to always be clear about our North Star. We always need to keep focused on what we're doing and why we're doing it. Who are we serving? And we need to take ourselves. I think that imposter syndrome feeling is really an indication that we're not focused on who we're serving and we're too focused on who we are and our fears, our insecurities.
Yeah, absolutely.
It isn't always about our skills.
No. And most of the time, actually, with women, it's never about the skills, right? They come to the table with the best skill set imaginable. They already have it all inside them. And they come to the table technically ready, if you will. But then, like you said, where the mindset happens and where that imposter syndrome steps in, because we forget what we're playing outward. And we are so concerned with the processing, how people are judging us, who is looking at us, which way, what's going to happen. And so if you just remove, like I literally tell women, like you need to be out there serving people, because gratitude and misery can live in the same place. Instead of a lot of times when we focus on that internal story, which is actually a story. If you think about it, every imposter syndrome out there is just a story we created ourselves and we're hanging on to. And if you actually, like you said, I love that you brought that up. If you shift that perspective and you put the light and sparkles, if you sparkle out there, then it actually, and focus on the people you serve, it will take you out of yourself. It will take you out of your own story that you're sitting in.
100%. Yeah. Plus, all roads will take you to somewhere, right? So you might as well decide where you want to go, map it out, look at what it's going to take to get there. And then who do you need? Who are the key players? What I found really useful for me is just throwing on a whiteboard everything that needs to be done, and then making a list. What are the things that I'm really good at? What are the things that I feel are more challenging? So what's your zone of genius? What can you live without? What needs to be done by you? What can you delegate?
Yes,
right?
Delegation, that, famous word.
The who.
Yes. So many of us are still struggling.
Like a Dr. Seuss conversation, right? Who's the who?
Yeah. Who's the who-ville? Who is your who-ville?
Who's your who?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody should have a bunch of who's around them, and I use that term with women often. I say, who's your board of advisors?
Yeah.
Who can you go to? Because, and again, right, we're talking, obviously, there'll be different level of women, different women and different business levels who are going to be listening to this podcast. If you can't see this, my earring just hung out. It just fell out, just so you guys are aware. It's not a voodoo magic. It just happened. So, but, one thing I would caution women, don't wait till you have the resources to delegate, right? Because a lot of times we're so hung up at the earliest stages, but can I pay anybody? I don't have the revenue yet. One, you always have, and especially now, I feel like the age of technology and digital changed so much opportunity-wise, because not only you have AI resources, you have VA resources that most of us didn't have access to when we started. You also have trade options, right? I mean, you can literally delegate in so many different ways, regardless of your revenue level. So what I'm encouraging all of you listening, I really hope you guys hear what Veronique is saying, is delegate regardless of where you're at. And find a way to do it. Like I said, whether you need to trade services, if you need to AI it out, if you need to bring a VA, but don't wait and don't let this hold you back from, that burnout if you can actually delegate now.
And perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the enemy of done. And this is one lesson, and you know me.
Yes.
I like perfect and you like done.
Yes.
You
That's
and
why
I
we're
get
here.
together. And you're like, did you do it? I'm like, it wasn't perfect. And you're like, get it done.
Yes. Execute. Yes.
Execute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so true. Well, and I think, right, aesthetic space is just so much harder because you are surrounded by beauty. You create beauty. This is the very nature of your business. And, everything is magical and gorgeous. So sometimes in business, it is not that way. It is not magical. It is not sparkly. It is not, it's completely different. And that's where, yes, I do think sometimes it's through discipline that we have to kind of push into the done area just to move the needle forward. And as you get better, obviously, and kind of like my plea to all the women you work with, because you guys are in aesthetics industry, you are in the beauty industry, you do have to realize that sometimes you have to get through that tough period in your business, through the growth stages, and then you will have more disposable income to make things perfect and more beautiful and gorgeous. But at the early stages, don't shy away because it's not perfect. Sometimes you just have to get it done.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Olenka, I normally have 3 action items at the end of my podcast to help the listeners to move forward what it is they're trying to do, whether they're considering becoming an entrepreneur, playing around with an idea, or they're in the early stages of their business and they're looking to systemize it. They're looking to put things in place. But with you, it's going to be really hard. I could sit with you and we could come up with 50 things for them to go do today to move things forward. But I don't want to scare anyone. We're not in the business of scaring people.
No.
So we'll do 3.
Yes.
What do you think those 3 should be?
My 3 choices would be 1, get help. That has to be immediate because no matter how good you are at something, there are things that you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And that help is going to save you time. It's going to give you shortcuts. It's actually going to save you money because you can dump a lot of money into business without getting any results. So get help would be 1.
So when you say get help, and I just want to drill down a little bit. So when you say get help, you're talking about in a mentor,
absolutely,
or a mastermind, a group of other women that are kind of in the same place or maybe a little bit ahead of you that could kind of help you if you don't feel like you can afford a mentor, that type of thing. So,
absolutely.
So look around and see what you need help with and try to find somebody who can help you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Any type of level of mentorship that aligns with them for sure.
Okay.
Yes. And then the next one I would say is what you and I talked about is the who.
Okay.
The who is going to be the theme of this podcast because again, I am a big proponent, and I know you are too, is like you said, finding somebody who can help you, who can do it for you. And this is not a mentor. This is different from the first item, right? Because this is actually somebody who will execute, who will get dirty, who will get into the trenches and actually do things for you that you're not maybe as good at.
Integrator.
Integrator.
Yes. This is it. Yes. When we're visionaries, we're able to create the vision and do all the things to bring it to life and make it pretty and beautiful. But when it comes to actually getting in the business and doing all the things that need to be done, it kills the spirit of most visionaries. You need an integrator.
That is so 1000% true. Yes, you absolutely need an integrator.
So find your integrator.
Find your integrator. Yes.
Unless you're the integrator, then you need to find your visionary.
Then you find a visionary. It's true. But yeah, that duo is super key. Absolutely. Yeah. It's super key to have that pairing in any business because it's going to move the needle so much faster. And I would say the last piece is get away from the grind and hustle culture. Remember that business is meant to be fun. It means it's meant to plug into your life. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to live life first and have a business alongside, not pour everything into your business and then not have any life. So my suggestion would be definitely having that balance, even though I know it seems like elusive, but definitely remember the piece where it's not about grind and hustle. It's about actual impact that you want to create and the why. I love that you brought up the why earlier.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to suggest for that last piece is to draw 2 pie charts. Okay. This is the girl who loves numbers and who loves statistics and all this. 2 pie charts. Draw in one pie chart what your life looks like right now. So cut those little pieces out. How much of it is sleep? How much of it is with your friends, your family? How much of it is work? So that's today's pie chart. But maybe we'll do one for tomorrow for what our life could be like. And really focus on that because we can actually manifest that second pie chart. Olenka, I love you. And I'm so grateful that you've come to, to bring so much value to our listeners. I know that every time I interact with you, I love being in your orbit. I always think I'm a better person for it. So thank you once again for joining us on the Glow Up Boss. And, I can't thank you enough, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you for having me. And as I always say, kick ass and sparkle.